Oh my God. Just looking at myself in the viewfinder right now. And it's November 1st. If you're on audio, come over to visual because we are dressed a little bit differently today. We're pre-recording this on Thursday the 28th. And obviously it's the start of Halloween weekend. So we're dressed up in our first costumes of the whole weekend. Let's just start off with what we are. What are you for Halloween?
I am Rupert from from Survivor. I have what are these called? Buddy? No. What is it? Buffy. A buff.
Yeah.
It's a buff. I have like the Survivor buff and I put it on as like a top.
It's like the legit one from CBS.com.
Right. And then I have my good old handy
Tiki.
The tribal
immunity torch or something.
Yes. Honestly, I don't watch the show as much as I probably should for being this.
We literally okay, first tell the origin of why we came up with this costume. I say we because I was supposed to be this too.
Yeah.
I literally ordered it, you guys, and I ordered a hat.
It's just
the hat came in the mail, but that just never came, so it couldn't be it.
Well, I've watched Survivor since I was little. Like my family was a big Survivor household. And I recently started watching a couple episodes and I was like, I want to get Kristen and Leanna into this. So we started watching it.
It was fire.
It's like really addicting. And we were on their website looking at merch as we do when we fall in love with something.
Right.
And we were like, oh my God, we should be Survivor contestants for Halloween. Our original Halloween plan was to go to Outside Lands in San Francisco.
Yeah. Gosh.
And it's a very everyone dresses very nature, hiking boots and comfortable and not festival at all.
Right.
So we're like, this is gonna be perfect. It's on Halloween weekend and we're gonna dress up as survivors and we're gonna be comfortable as fuck and just super in the wild
and on brand. The costume would fit the surroundings. It was gonna be perfect. We obviously didn't end up going though.
So yeah, I'm a survivor. I rubbed coffee all over me to look like dirt.
It works so
Kinda
well.
Works, right?
I feel like it's not gonna come off either.
No, I put
oh, it smells so good.
I smell so good. I reek of coffee. I put Got to Be Glued. I just dabbed it all over me, and then I took a makeup brush of coffee and just
it worked. Cool. It worked. I feel like some of those last minute crafts you do to yourself for last minute costumes, it makes it work so well.
Yep.
No, it's perfect.
Thanks. What are you? My hiking boots.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Those are cute. I did want to be that. I have a lot of costumes for this next week, and I guess by the time this episode is out, you guys will have seen all of our costumes throughout the weekend. I have this one, which I'll get to in a sec. Tomorrow we're gonna be why am I blanking? Oh, Spring Breakers. The Spring Breaker costume that totally blew up in 2013, and everybody was doing it, and we just or Alex came up with it. She was like, what if we just brought it back? Because it was so big then.
That year, everyone was a spring breaker. Yeah. And I had wanted to be a spring breaker, but my mom didn't let me because you wear a bathing suit top. And back then I had fat knockers. She was like, I don't know. It's probably not a good idea because I would have been spilling out.
Right.
And I was 17.
Spring Breakers, if you haven't seen it, it's a really good movie. It's with Ashley Benson, Vanessa Hudgens, Selena Gomez. I don't know who the fourth girl is.
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know. And the guy is James Franco.
Yeah. They go on a spring break trip and it kind of goes south and they just start partying a little too hard and they get in with the wrong crowd. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a lot of
such a
sex,
specific,
drugs, guns, robbing shit. They just kind of go down a bad path, and it's this rebellious group of teenage girls that are just kind of experimenting with this other world, really. Yeah. And there's this iconic scene, and they have ski masks, these pink ski masks, and then little sweats that say DTF on the butt. And then I know in the original scene they wear a certain onesie with a purple tiger on it, but we didn't end up doing that because if you Google the costume, I feel like a lot of people realized they couldn't find that tiger onesies,
so they wore the neon bathing suit tops,
right? And every friend picks a different color, so we're gonna be that us two plus Leanna and Kaya, which you guys met them before. And then Saturday I'm gonna be a fairy, and then Sunday I'm going to be Ted Lasso. I have a wig, a mustache, everything. And literally 2 seconds ago, before we started recording, I went on Twitter, and today again is October 28th. We're pre-recording this, and trending on Twitter right now is Mitt Romney's costume is Ted Lasso. So I haven't even been it yet, and I'm seeing that already. Like, it's so funny to see how many people are gonna be him. I knew they would.
Yeah.
Usually
it's
I don't.
Funny that Mitt Romney is like out partying right now.
Right. I usually don't like to be the thing that I know everybody's gonna be that year, but like I just fell in love with Ted Lasso watching the past 2 seasons. So I'm like, I had to be it.
Did you finish it? Are you caught up?
I'm halfway through season 2.
Okay.
But I did all of season 1. But today I threw this together last minute. I was going to be a cheerleader because I have all of my old cheer uniforms, but then we knew we were going to come in tonight and record before we go to a party in a few hours. And I also didn't want to like be something that I had been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Because what episode was that when I wore that?
It was our high school. We dressed up as like how we were in high school.
Yes. So I wore my cheer uniform. I just didn't want to do it again. So I threw this together. These are some horns I have I did a commercial with Honey, the extension browser. Not sponsored. Should be. I did a commercial with them where I was like a devil and an angel on my own shoulders. It's actually a really cool produced commercial.
I still have never seen it.
It rolls on ads for YouTube videos. Maybe it'll be on this one. How cool would that be? So these are the horns I got for that commercial. And then when in doubt, be a slut for Halloween.
Oh God,
I think I pulled that this year, which I haven't done in a few years. But tonight I was just like, last minute.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I had to do it. So I'm wearing assless chaps, which have kind of nothing to do with this, with fishnets and Converse. And I think I'm gonna tell people that I'm an Aries. I was gonna say a devil, but I feel like
so you're a ram,
Aries, but like a dark Aries,
right?
I don't know.
Aries.
There, that's what I am. Another thing, I don't know if this is old news now, considering it's 4 days from now, but today Facebook announced their name change, and Meta, which is very interesting. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? We were talking about
stupid.
Facebook is such a coined name.
Like literally everyone in the world knows what Facebook is.
Yep. Everybody knows what Facebook is. There's something still like as corrupt as they probably are on the back end. There's still something kind of inviting about the name Facebook.
For sure.
It's round. It's happy. It's light to me.
Did they change? Oh, it's their new logo's still blue, right?
Yeah, but it's like a swish thing. It's almost like a fucking infinity sign.
It looks like a medical company now.
I was going to say like that or like a tech company.
Right.
It doesn't look like a community based like find friends and create groups and like a community.
No, why did they pick that?
I don't know. We should have probably opened the article.
Yeah.
We literally just saw the headline. We're like, ew, what the fuck? But like maybe there's a reason behind it. It's interesting though. That's quite the rebrand. Like imagine that process in headquarters to be like, all right, we're changing it. Like
today's the day. I wonder how long this has been planned for.
Right. What does it even mean?
So metadata, well, I don't know exactly what meta means, but metadata is like on a camera, the back end of the camera, all the information that comes through when you like upload your files to your computer. If you like click on a certain file, it'll tell you like your camera settings, the date it was taken, the location. It has like points to it. So it's like information.
The little track record?
Yeah. It's just like info. Should I look up the definition of meta?
Yeah, why not? I'm just trying to like find reason in this. Again, maybe we should have opened the fucking article before we talked about it with you guys. It's so weird though. Like I feel like it was not a good move.
Short for meta key, referring to itself or to the conventions of its genre, self-referential. I have no fucking clue.
I don't get it.
Denoting position.
Did you see anything about Facebook on there?
I googled
just
meta
like
definition.
Gotcha.
Yeah, interesting. Why?
I wonder what happened to stocks. Interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing I saw today, I wrote this down because it's actually a crazy story, and my heart goes out to her. Jeanette Mccurdy. She was in iCarly.
Oh.
What was her name in the show? In iCarly.
The blonde one, right?
Yeah.
The best friend?
Yeah, but what was her name in the show? I can't remember, but Carly's best friend.
Yeah.
She did an interview. So she has like a podcast. I think she's like writing a book right now. She's doing a lot of amazing things like after her acting career. She kind of is really rebranding. She has, I think it's a podcast called I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Whoa.
And a lot of people, that was their reaction about it, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And recently, I think within just like the past few days, she did an interview with, I think it was People. Again, don't quote me. But what it talked about was the reality of the relationship she has had with her mother forever. Her mom wanted to be wanted to be an actress. And you already know where I'm going with this. She started kind of living through Jeanette, and from a very young age, from like 10 years old, started getting like her hair bleached, her teeth whitened, like teaching her how to count her calories. And like Jeanette has opened up about how she's like really had eating disorder, having had an eating disorder because of it. She would do like genital exams, breast exams. Like she fully came forward and just was very vulnerable in this interview and just told the truth behind what her mom would do to her. I believe it was 2017, her mom passed away from cancer. And yeah, she was just saying how like she realized she had never really felt free until she was gone. And it's sad to think about. It's a very uncomfortable thing to think about, but
it's just like
I get it.
You kind of remove the but you're my mom thing, and it's just like you were just a terrible person in my life.
You were an abuser.
Yes.
Like it's blood doesn't matter at that point.
Yep.
It was so sad. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but I kind of wanted to like shout her out and everything, and I'm really excited for her book. That takes so much courage to come out and say that. And she admitted why she didn't go to the iCarly reboot, because she was like, that time just brings so much trauma and like triggers me so bad, which is so fucking valid. But God, it's awful. It's like, I feel like nowadays every week we're hearing something new about a child actor that went through some bullshit. And it's like, it's so sad.
It's just like, you can see how they're targets for being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And it's usually family members who have access to all this money they're making and like these opportunities.
It's terrifying. So I don't know. I just want to protect anybody who's like looking to get into the entertainment business if they're young. Like, it's not all glitz and glamour. And I think it's really cool how people have come forward these past few years to shed light on that and be like, hey, like, slow down.
It's not all it is talked up to be.
Right. All you ever hear is people say like, oh, I wish I was just a normal kid. I miss going to the grocery store. I miss that. Like, fame is terrifying. Yeah, I just want to bring that up. What else? I think that's kind of it.
We are up to date on the playlist finally.
Yeah.
Thanks to our friend Heather, who has been keeping. We wrote her name here. She's on Patreon. She's a patron of ours.
Yes.
And she has been keeping a handy dandy notebook list of all of our songs. So we finally got into our accounts and we updated those playlists. So now we are on Apple Music and Spotify.
Yes.
Oddvice podcast season 2 songs.
I'll never remember the name.
Nope,
not at all. Okay, let's kind of get into today's episode. Before that, we already said what we're wearing. Let's do song of the day.
Okay. Mine it's a Childish Gambino song, and it was one of those ones where I was having a full-on conversation with someone and it was playing in the background and I was like, wait, hold on, I think I like this song.
Whoa.
Because I could like hear it and it literally caught my attention. Stay High, Childish Gambino version featuring Brittany Howard.
Brittany Howard.
Why
does that sound so familiar?
Did we like go to high school with a girl named Brittany Howard?
That's what.
Yeah. I think it's
her. She's blown up
with Childish Gambino. Yeah, and the
copywritten.
No. The cover art's really cool.
Huh. I'll listen to it. My song of the day, we just listened to it pulling up here. I love Sabrina Carpenter's song Skinny Dipping, and I just noticed she released an acoustic version. It's beautiful. I'm just obsessed with the song. I don't know why. There's something kind of goofy about the song too.
For sure.
It's very like,
she has like a monologue in the beginning.
Yeah, but I like it. I don't know why I like the song so much. So the acoustic version,
a cute song.
It's even better. It's so cute. So we'll throw those on the playlist. Today we're going to get into some conspiracy theories. So get ready for that. But before we get into that, we're going to take a break for our sponsors. So our first sponsor is Bev, and Bev is a female-founded and owned company that's not only changing the consumption of wine, but changing the industry as a whole. It's so cool that they're female-owned. I feel even better drinking it.
Right. I feel like connected to them. Like, right. Oh, my bitches.
My girlies.
And they have a whole bunch of different types. They have a rosé, Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir. They have one called Glitz and Glam. It's like so cute. I like the Pinot Gris. That's my favorite.
Also, there's 0 sugar, 3 carbs, and only 100 calories, so you don't feel as bad the next day. Because pro tip, your hangovers because the sugar. I mean, it is because the alcohol too, but honestly, if you can cut out the sugar, your hangover's a little bit better.
And it's cool because they're like, they have like a fizz to them, so they kind of feel like, and they're in a can.
Yep.
So you're not feel like you're like drinking a bougie glass of wine.
Yep.
You can have them at a party.
Yes.
You can like drink them
like
you're drinking. Right. Yeah.
Because sometimes when I drink wine, I just want to go to bed. It puts me in such like a low mood, but there's something like inviting and
like fun about it.
Right. It's very psychological.
Yeah. They have 4-packs, which is like really cute for gifting, especially right now coming up on the holidays. But they also have 24-packs, and the 24-packs is equal to 8 bottles of wine.
Insane.
8. That's so many.
That's so much wine. And if you guys want to check them out, we've worked out a deal for our listeners. Receive 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping on all orders. I suggest trying their best-selling Ladies Night variety pack so you can check out all their delicious varietals. Go to drinkbev.com/oddvice or use code oddvice at checkout to claim this deal. That's drinkbev.com/oddvice.
Or if you want to shop in store, they're in like worldwide retailers like Target, Bevmo, Total Wine, and so much more.
Yep. Go get them, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Bev.
This podcast is also sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys have heard us talk about them before. Therapy is everything, and BetterHelp is there to help you. They are online therapy available worldwide.
Not only can you schedule weekly video and call sessions, but you can also log in and message your therapist at any time because we all know shit comes up at all hours of the day.
Yep.
And they'll get back to you in a timely manner.
BetterHelp is also way more affordable than offline therapy, and they also accept financial aid, which is so helpful. BetterHelp is also committed to matching you up with licensed professionals, and if you feel like you aren't vibing with them, you can change them at any time. So you don't have to worry about, oh no, I'm not going to have therapy for 3 weeks. Like they'll match you with someone new right away, and you can do it as many times as you need until you're comfortable.
And it's free. Visit betterhelp.com/oddvice. That's better HELP, and join over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
Again, that's a special offer for Oddvice listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/oddvice. Thanks, BetterHelp.
And we're back.
Okay. So, like we said, we're tackling conspiracy theories this week, and this felt like a school project.
Yeah, it did. It stressed me out for the better half of the week.
And it's going to play out exactly how you and I did school projects, because Alex printed hers.
I have 3 pages of notes.
3 pages of notes. I have mine on my phone, and I have 1 page of notes. Mine,
but that doesn't mean anything.
I mean, we both graduated.
Right.
Like, we're both here.
We both have a degree.
Right. Yeah. So, so her conspiracy is definitely a lot. Honestly, you developed it so much more, but it's also it's such a big conspiracy.
Yeah.
Mine's a little more, I don't want to say fun because it's dark, but it's
lighthearted. No.
Yes and no. It's more like yours is real.
Yeah.
Yours is
I have evidence.
Right. Yours is almost less of a conspiracy and more of like, let's fucking talk about this.
Right.
Whereas mine is totally a conspiracy.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I feel like I should. Maybe let's just get mine out of the way. You guys can skip forward to Alex's. Literally mine's like, I'm talking shit on myself. It's not that crazy.
I'm sure it's going to be great.
It's
what is it?
It's weird. So mine is going to be the conspiracy behind what the Nickelodeon cartoon Rugrats is really about.
Holy shit. I've never heard this.
You've never heard this?
No. I've heard like Disney, how like there's like subliminal messages and shit like that, but I've never heard Rugrats.
Yeah. So I knew about this one. I think I researched it like a few years ago, but I didn't go too deep into it because I actually remember when I went into it, I got kind of like, this is like ruining my childhood.
Oh,
it was a weird
and Rugrats
feeling.
Was my favorite.
Same. I had a neighbor that their parents wouldn't let them watch Rugrats. They were like, no,
They
like
fucking knew.
Right. They were like, there's something
Wait,
up.
was it the dentist neighbor?
No.
They for sure knew.
Fun fact, I grew up behind a dentistry.
That sounds like the most Pacheco thing ever.
Literally, I grew up. That's so funny. Okay, so Rugrats. It was a show that aired from 1991 to 2004 on Nickelodeon. If you know, you know. I'm sure a lot of you watched it, but if you don't know, I'm going to give a little bit background to what the show was about, what the characters were like, because then it'll kind of give you some context for what the conspiracy is.
Cool.
So like I said, it aired 1991 to 2004 on Nickelodeon. It was a super weird show. It was animated. The animation was very what would you call that style? Just like
drawn.
But yeah, definitely drawn and like super quirky. Like it wasn't like round and bubbly. Like everything was very odd shaped, very flat, very, very flat. Very 2D for sure. It was some parts of it were almost like stop motion in a way. Like it
wasn't like 3D in any way.
No, it was kind of eerie. Like I can even hear the theme song, the it was kind of weird.
What? That just brought me back. Do you remember the Rugrats like remix song?
Oh my god, yeah. That shit's fire. That shit's looking fire.
Slaps.
Does slap. So yeah, it was a show about this group of toddlers, this group of babies, and things they go through day to day together. You know, like, oh, their ball went over the fence and they need to go get it, but there's this big bad neighbor that's gonna get them. And
wasn't like sorry if I'm interjecting and like throwing.
You're good.
Okay. Wasn't there like a big premise that they could all talk, but they didn't want the parents to know that they could talk yet?
So what it was is they all spoke to each other. So when you watch it, it's in English. They're all speaking to each other the same way you and I are. But then when the parents walk up, the narrative every few episodes, the parents are just like, "Aw, look at them." And to them, they hear goo goo gaga.
Oh.
So the parents don't know what they're saying. Okay. It's just, it's weird. So yeah, I'll give you some background on some of the characters. The characters are Tommy Pickles, Chucky, Angelica, and then there's twins Phil and Lil. Tommy Pickles also has a little brother Dill, who I'll get into in a sec. Yeah, it's just their day-to-day lives, their little problems they go through. So the main character is Tommy Pickles. He's this little baby, wears a diaper, a little blue shirt, a little bald guy. And his parents are very easily distracted. His parents are Stu and Dee Dee, and they're super just like weird looking parents. I don't know. I'm going to keep emphasizing how weird it is, but just maybe pull up a picture if you haven't watched it before so you can kind of get a visual of the people I'm describing. So Stu is a very kind of like chill dad, and he's always in the basement making toys. And that's kind of a narrative you see a lot. Like Dee Dee goes down there, "Honey, dinner's ready." And he's like working on a toy and he gives it to Tommy Pickles and whatever. Dee Dee is a very sweet, loving mother. She's a teacher. Like her character is always just like, "Oh, honey," like very cute. They also have a dog named Spike who is actually in the show quite a lot. And his character, it's a dog. Did I say that? He rescues Tommy Pickles a lot. I feel like that's kind of where he always comes into play. They also, like I said, they also have another baby named Dill Pickle. These names are so fucking adorable. He doesn't talk. He's supposed to be like a baby. So he doesn't talk, but you kind of notice that Chucky and Tommy always really understand what he's saying. Like he'll say like goo goo gaga or poopy or something like that, and they like give him a toy and he's happy. Like you notice that there's kind of an understanding there, which is adorable. Chucky, my favorite character, he's this little redheaded rat kid. He's so cute. He's all nerdy, cute little glasses. That's Tommy's hair. Best friend. Yes, that's a good. Oh my god, that'd be a good Halloween costume.
Yeah,
that's so good. Chucky's dad, his name is Chaz. He is a widower. In the show, they kind of hint to it that Chucky's mom is out of the picture and she did pass away. They don't like say how or anything. I mean, it's still a kid's show. His dad is very, kind of nerdy, very mild mannered, and just always kind of nervous. He's always just like, "Hey, yeah, I'm here to pick up Chucky." Like he's always just kind of like on edge. Next character, very big character, is Angelica. This bratty little girl. She's older than all the other kids. She's probably like 5 or 6, whereas they're all like 2, 3, 4. She's just a bitch. She's a fucking bitch.
I was just gonna say
she's
that.
Literally so rude. Like, she's always like,
she's a bully.
She's a bully. Done. She's just a bully to them always. And then her mom, I don't know her mom's name, but her mom, when she's in the show, is very like, yeah, honey, okay. And she's always on her phone talking to somebody named Jonathan. And in the show, Jonathan is kind of written to be this, this assistant. She's a very like busy working mom, and she's always like, Jonathan, did you schedule da-da-da? So she's just always like really not worried about Angelica, which now when you think about it as an adult, you're like, that's why Angelica was rebelling, because she didn't have love at home. It's sad. Angelica is also really obsessed with a doll named Cynthia. And this doll, oh my God. Oh, I thought that was a centipede on the floor. There's a moth crawling on the floor.
Cynthia.
What is that part of it?
No, that's part of 21 Jump Street. When he's on stage doing his like monologue. The poetry slam.
No.
Cynthia. Really?
I've seen it, but I don't recall that part. This doll is hella like ratty though. It's like ratty.
It's scary.
It is scary. A ratty like Barbie. It has like 3 spikes of hair. It's like balding kind of. It has like a ratty orange dress. Yeah, do we have it? I feel like that's something we would have on this wall. I don't think we do though. This is her doll. She brings her everywhere. She's like obsessed with this doll. Angelica also has a best friend named Susie. Susie comes in the show. I think later in the show, even Susie's parents are in it. She's just like a sweet girl. It's kind of interesting that they're best friends, because Susie is like written to be just this like really nice light of a girl, and she's super nice to Tommy Pickles and all Chucky and all of them. Then there's the twins, Phil and Lil, and their parents are Betty and Howard. Their last name is DeVille. I didn't know that until I did the research for this. Phil and Lil, fun fact, in real life, the voice actors for those 2 characters are actually the same person, which I always thought was really cool.
Cute.
Their mom is described as a boisterous feminist, and their dad is kind of like Chucky's dad, very mild-mannered, soft-spoken, just like chill guy. You don't see him as much. Another big character is Reptar. Reptar in the show is a toy they play with a lot. It's just like a franchise dinosaur in that show. Yeah, so that's kind of the basis of all the characters. I just wanted to like refresh everybody, because I'm assuming a lot of us haven't watched it in a minute, but I don't know what you guys watched tonight, so I'll speak for myself. So in 2003 to 2008, they did a spinoff called All Grown Up, where the kids came back and they're all like teens now, like awkward teens. Dill is 9 because he's a little bit younger than them in the original, so he's like a tween, but all of them are teens. They're in school, they're dealing with boys and cell phones and crushes and just shit you deal with when you're a teen. So now let's get into the conspiracy. This gets very dark. I read a few like Reddit forums. It's kind of just like a gag of a conspiracy, so I'm not going to crazy cite my sources, but there's definitely some dark shit in here. So the conspiracy revolves around Angelica. Again, that really naughty toddler that I was talking about. And the conspiracy is that all these Rugrats, all these kids, are just a figment of her demonic imagination. So it goes back to 1986, when Chucky, the kid Chucky, actually died along with his mother. And that's why Chaz, his dad, is always super wigged out. He's always just like, hey, I'm here to pick up Chucky. Like he's freaking out. He's a PTSD kind of, you know what I mean?
Whoa.
So all the conspiracy I'm about to say, think back into the show and think about how we're watching the show through Angelica's eyes.
Okay.
That's kind of what this conspiracy is.
This makes me want to watch it.
Right. So yeah, all these things in the show are a figment of her imagination. So yeah, Chucky died in 1986. Tommy was born in 1988, because in the show he's even younger than Chucky too. He has like way less hair and shit. Born in 1988, but he was actually a stillborn, meaning he passed away during birth. And that's why his dad, Stu, is always in the basement making toys. He's making toys for the son that he lost.
Oh my God.
Because he's down there a lot, like dedicated to the craft in the show. Yeah, I'm sorry, this gets really fucking dark. Dill Pickle was actually the only real character per this conspiracy. He was a real character, but in Angelica's eyes, he was the only one that wouldn't go away when she wanted to turn off imagining these kids. So she'd get really frustrated with him and like hit him and like beat him and stuff. And I say this because the conspiracy continues to say that he suffered from a brain hemorrhage and in All Grown Up. So we'll go back to that spinoff when he's like 9 years old. His character is very shamed for being weird, out of the box, like just super weird. And people say like, oh my God, it's because he was like hit when he was a kid.
Oh
and
my
like
God.
he's underdeveloped and like all these things. It's fucking dark. I'm so sorry.
No, stop apologizing. This is crazy.
It's fucking
It's our
dark.
Halloween episode.
Right. On November 1st. We should have just said turkeys.
Oh.
So the rest of the conspiracy goes, the DeVilles, so those twins, Phil and Lil, the parents actually had an abortion in 1990, and Angelica and her imagination could never figure out if it was a boy or a girl. Obviously, she was a child, so she kind of imagined them as both and imagined them as these identical twins in the show. And they're hip and hip the whole show. They're very much almost one character if you watch it back. Yeah. Angelica's mom, the one who's always on the phone with Jonathan in the show, very kind of not present. In reality, she died in 1982 of a heroin overdose. And that's why Angelica is so obsessed with her dingy, dirty doll, Cynthia. It reminds her of her mom. And that's why she just like looks up to this dog. I almost said dog, this doll, and leans on it so much. So back to the spinoff. In All Grown Up, Angelica has become addicted to various narcotics, which have aggravated her schizophrenia so bad that the kids are now back and they're her age. So she's living amongst these kids, imagining them to be her age, and she goes so crazy that she just keeps taking acid and realizes, oh, if I just go crazy enough, I never have to live without my friends. Then this is where the conspiracy turns into like how the show was written. So Susie, remember Angelica's friend Susie, is very sweet. Susie is real. Susie has always been Angelica's friend and has kind of entertained the thoughts of these creations that Angelica has come up with just to make her happy. And later in life, Susie becomes a psychologist, and Angelica overdoses, and to remember Angelica, Susie goes to Nickelodeon and says, hey, I have this crazy story about like my friend growing up. Like, can we write it? I think it'd be a really cool
Kid show.
So, yeah, that's kind of it for the conspiracy. I'm pretty sure this has been debunked and everything. It's just kind of one of those
I don't know. It's like you could, like, I bet if we went home and like watched episodes, we could definitely be like, oh, 100%.
Sure. And, you know, I even read some opinions on the conspiracy before bringing it to this episode. And some people were like, this is crazy. Like, no way. You can probably talk to the writers and they're obviously going to tell you this isn't real. But it's just kind of one of those fun things that like a show cult comes up with.
Yeah.
There's also conspiracies around SpongeBob where like the Krabby Patty formula is crab, and that's why Mr. Krabs is the only crab in the ocean, because he's like, and he has all this money because he like wiped out his fucking species. Like it's just one of those fun things. So I hope this conspiracy didn't piss off anybody, but I thought it was a fun one. It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable. And in a way, I hope it's real, because I would love some like creepy twist on something so dear to my childhood, because why not add another creepy twist of my childhood to the list?
This has this has like the same energy as, like I said earlier, like all the Disney shit, but like the Wizard of Oz. Have you heard those?
Yep.
Like we really like don't know the intention behind a lot of the entertainment that we watch.
Right.
And it could very well be true.
Yep. And even if it's this exact story isn't true, like you can argue every show is a figment of someone's imagination.
Yep.
So like it's not that
true.
crazy.
Shit.
Yeah. That's my conspiracy. Okay, now let's get into the big mama. I warmed up the crowd. I warmed up the crowd with a fucking animation, and now you're about to get into one of our favorite conspiracies, you and I. The mic is yours.
It goes crazy.
It goes Yankee.
It goes deep. Okay, I'm going to be talking about the Bohemian Club and the Bohemian Grove. So yes, we got a big fan from Chris over there
in the crowd.
There's
one person in this room right now.
It's a good one. Okay. Maybe I should start by saying we specifically like this one because it's close to home. It's literally like 25-30 miles away from where we grew up.
Yeah. And
we have kind of like a personal touch that I'll get to in a minute. So the Bohemian Grove is home to the Bohemian Club, which is a secret gentleman's fraternity. It's a secret club of all males. It started back in the late 1800s. Bohemianism, which is the practice of an unconventional lifestyle. They're vagabonds who take pleasure in things like art, music, mostly anti-establishment worldview. So like things against the grain. In 1872, a small group of bohemians started like throwing ragers in San Francisco. Like just big parties, a whole bunch of artists, journalists, people who just like wanted to sit around and talk about art. But then a lot of like really wealthy bar goers started to join the group and like started to go. And it's funny because like all the artists were like, okay, yeah, you can come because you have a lot of money. Like they started to realize that like our parties can be very lavish.
Yeah.
But it was always like, we have the talent and you have the money. So it was kind of always like separated like that.
Okay.
Around 1887, the fees to join the club were $100, which is almost $3,000 today.
Oh, wow.
So it was really fucking expensive back then. By 1893, that's when they started moving their parties to the Sonoma Redwoods, which is north of San Francisco. Like I said, it's about 30 miles away from where me and Kristen grew up. Today, the initiation fee is over $25,000 because that was recorded, I think in 2017, it was recorded that it was $25,000 and that there's annual dues every year.
Yo.
It's super hard to get into the club. It's extremely elite. You have to be recommended by like people who are already in the club.
It's like Soho House.
Yeah. But I don't think it goes this deep.
This is like our Patreon.
The wait list is 15 years long.
Just like our Patreon. Just kidding. Not at all. Please join our Patreon.
Yeah. So if you aren't accepted right away, then you're like thrown to the wait list, and that's it's rumored to be like about 15 years long to get in.
Let's do it.
Not down. But they don't allow women. I'll get into it.
Great. Sick.
Okay, so there's currently 2,500 members, including billionaires, politicians, and Hollywood elites. Some notable names, just to like help you understand the weight of this club. It started with like one of the first notable names that it started with back in the early 1900s, I believe, is when he joined, was Mark Twain.
Oh my God.
People like George Bush, Colbert Caldwell of like the Caldwell Bank, Joseph Coors of our good friends at Coors Light, Herbert Hoover, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, Theodore Roosevelt, and that's just to name a few.
Just a few key names.
So let me talk about the Grove, which is the grounds in Sonoma County that they all party at now. By the way, this is still going on.
How often is it? Annual?
It's annual, but if you're a club member, you can go whenever.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So it's in Monterey, California. There's 2,700 acres in the Redwood Forest, and that's about 4 square miles. And on the grounds, it's obviously gated and surveillanced at all times. On the grounds, there's over like 100 different campsites, and there's like different quarters.
Okay.
There's a man-made lake. There's a 2,000-seat amphitheater, a campfire with like a circle of benches that are carved by the redwoods, a clubhouse for dining and entertainment, and then the epicenter of the grove is a 30-foot stone owl shrine. That's like up a set of stairs of like made of stone. It's the thought of it is actually terrifying.
Do we know what the owl means?
Yeah, I'll get to it. Kind of. There's speculation.
Okay. Either way, owls are fucking creepy. Like, it's already scary.
Well, they're symbols of the night.
Okay.
Well, I'll get to it.
Me right now, literally.
Right. So the owl faces the lake, and surrounding it is a fire pit that like it like looks down upon from the trees.
Okay.
Just remember the fire pit.
Okay.
Okay, so starting in the early 1900s, it started to gain interest from powerful political figures, and as interest grew, the privacy measures increased. So there was a media blackout by the 1930s. Guests were sworn to secrecy, no cameras, no phones, like no recording of anything while you're there.
What do you think their penalty was if they did break that? Off with thy head.
Off with the heads. We run at dawn.
But like damn near probably.
I don't, but the thing is
blackmail probably too, like what they're doing there.
Blackmail. And I really think that how elite these names are and what they're doing there, no one, like, they're not going to want to know, like, tell what's going on.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
So it's like,
that's the secrecy right there.
The secrecy is in the trust of who's there.
Yes.
It's fucking crazy. Okay. But the only thing that is public is because they're registered as a 501c7 social organization. So they're exempt from all taxes. They're just like all their financials have to be public though.
Oh.
But what's sketch is for the past decade, all of their financials and like what they've reported to the IRS has been consistent. There's like no ebb and flow. It's not like
big profit year. Like it's just
right. It's just like it's all, they report the same thing every year.
Yeah.
And you know how I said $25,000 to join and then there's annual fees? Well, starting in 2011, I believe, they reported almost $10 million in revenue, and they also reported $10 million in revenue in 2017. I didn't find anything after that. But their assets are worth more than $20 million. So like, what do they have there?
Yeah.
What's there that's worth $20 million?
Okay.
A lot of documents probably, I'm assuming. Shit that like isn't worth, like shit that you can't sell, you know? It's just like worth money because it's information.
Yes.
That's what I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had asked if they go once a year. They do. It's like a big camping trip of all the members.
Fun.
It's 2 weeks. They go 2 weeks in July. Sorry. Okay. 2 weeks in July they go, and it's the start of the summer. Because of the media blackout, what actually goes on there is mostly speculation, but there's been people who've tried to break into the grounds, and I'll get into that in a minute. And a select few of the campsite staff have spoken out. So a little bit about the campsite staff. A lot of it is locals who live around there, and up to a certain point, they only hired men, and they actually got involved in a lawsuit, and they were sued for discrimination for not hiring women, and they lost that. So they started hiring women, but they said, we'll keep them where they're supposed to be, and they only hired women kitchen staff.
Keep them where they're supposed to be.
Literally.
No way.
Yes. So they kept them in the kitchen and the dining quarters.
That's all women are good for. Laundry and cooking.
Amen. And they also had to, like, all the employees were on their own portion of the grounds, and it was all hidden from all the festivities that would happen during those 2 weeks.
You just go work, clock out, go back. It's probably like acres away there too.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. So these are some people who've tried to infiltrate. The most notable one, I think personally, her name's Mary Moore. She was a local in the early 80s, and she started to see that, like, obviously these people were coming around, big bonfires and shit. Like, people were they were getting drunk. There was drugs.
Loud probably too, if you're like anywhere near.
Right. And she was like, this is fucking sus. What's going on? So she's a local, and it's a small town, like the surrounding areas. So she started to convince other locals to steal anything they can get their hands on and bring it back to her. So they started stealing programs from like what they were going to be doing that day.
Right.
And there's a lot of information on there that I'll get to in a minute.
Oh my God.
But since then, so they were stealing these programs, but since then they stopped printing programs. So we haven't seen anything from them in probably decades.
Yeah, that's a paper trail right there.
Right.
Everything's
I'm
probably
surprised they did that
emailed.
in the first place.
Yeah.
Another one too, there's since been like hackers who've gotten into emails of members and like gotten information. So she viewed the club as an assault to democracy. She figured that, like, these are such elite people. Whatever they're going and doing and talking about, it has to affect the public in some way.
Yes.
These are people who pen the laws. These are people who literally like support our Supreme Justice, like head of these huge companies, politicians.
Yep.
They've got to be doing something in there that like is affecting the public.
Yep.
So she started the Bohemian Grove Action Network, and that's where she started gathering all of these programs and membership lists. You had asked me earlier how I gathered like the list of some names.
Yes.
A lot of this is from her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she started organizing protests, which ended up bringing a lot of attention to the clubs. And since she did that, a lot of people tried to sneak in and like gather more information. One guy, his name is Dirk Matheson. He's from People magazine, and in 1991 he snuck into the Grove and was set to release a story, I think in August of the year that he went in, but it was cut. And
I was gonna say, did he like mysteriously die or something?
No, but the executive of Time Warner, who owns People magazine, he's a member of the club. So we all know what happened there. Alex, right? No, it's crazy. Alex Jones, in July of 2000, he was a talk show radio host who managed to sneak in he was the only person who ever snuck in with the camera.
He's insane.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know who that is, Alex Jones is fucking insane.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Oh my God.
No,
look him up. This guy's crazy. He's a nutcase.
Is he?
Yes.
So he got footage of what they call the Cremation of Care. It's one of their biggest rituals, and I'll get into them in a minute. But
Cremation.
Right. They said, or he had said that he was able to sneak in. He like had the camera on his shoulder, and it was like poking through his shirt. And he was like, honestly, one of the big reasons why I was able to sneak in and kind of blend in was because everyone was drunk and hammered in on drugs, but also I'm just like a tall white man.
Yep.
Like, and 2,500 members, like not everyone knows everyone.
Sure. You're probably like, that's why you go. You're meeting people. You're networking. Like,
right. And he was like, I blended in, and like I have this camera and I was able to get this footage.
Did you watch it?
No, I don't think I could.
Oh, I'm watching it.
I didn't look for it, to be honest. I didn't want like.
I have to find it, and I must watch it.
Okay, so here is the cremation of care. Actually, first let me talk about the owl.
Okay.
So the owl that's in the middle of the grounds, it's known for the creature of night, and they say it can see in the dark.
Okay.
It's also this is like the biggest connection that they have based on this conspiracy. It's the personal emblem of a man named Adam Weishaupt. Do you know who that is? Mm-mm. Well, in 1776, he founded his own secret society called the Illuminati.
Oh, right. I've heard of that. I'm part of it.
I know. Literally the devil.
Like, he is.
Okay, so that's the significance of the owl. So the Cremation of Care, this big ritual that Alex Jones was able to catch footage of. It happens at sunset in the heart of the grove on the first night of the encampment as sort of a kickoff. One man known as the High Priest is in a red cape and a silver robe, and he has like 20 men around him in all black robes.
We don't know who the chosen man is?
No.
I wonder if it's the same every year.
I think it's different every year.
Okay.
Oh, wait, there was one point that I meant to add to this. Oh, they're all holding torches, and it starts off with this like really creepy speech. I think it's a Shakespeare quote, and it's kind of just like talking about how we leave things behind. We're here to like move forward. They say the speech is an exorcising, as in like exorcism, an exorcist of the demon to ensure the success of the ensuing 2 weeks.
The success. So there's like a motive when they go there.
Oh, 100%. They celebrate Midsummer, which is most commonly, I didn't include a lot of this because there's speculation that they practice a lot of pagan rituals. But I actually had a friend in college who was pagan, and she was like, everything that people think about paganism and like worshiping the devil, it's like not true, and I don't know enough about it, and I don't want to get too touchy with the situation with with the speculation, so I'll leave that where it is. But they do celebrate Midsummer, which is a common pagan
ritual
celebration.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're, like I said before, they just get hammered and they're all twacked out on shrooms the whole time.
Okay, us.
Right. So towards the end of the ritual, they bring out a figure of a man in a coffin and they set it on fire. It's a metal skeleton. In the video, you can tell it's like a metal skeleton wrapped in paper, but the name of the skeleton, they name him Care. So you're like setting Care on fire, and that's why it's called the Cremation of Care. And like I said, the like the quote in the beginning that the speech, it's like you're ridding of everything that has happened in the past.
Interesting, the word care. Like
yeah.
Like that doesn't sound like you'd want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Maybe get rid of like, I don't know. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, care isn't what I would think to let go of. Maybe worry.
Yeah.
But worry might sound too negative. Because worry is kind of a sense of caring.
I know. I wonder like what I would love to read the full Shakespeare quote that they
right.
Maybe we should watch the video.
Oh, I'm for sure watching it. But like I know a lot of Shakespeare is interpreted not so literally. So you and I are sitting here like, what? Why'd they use care? But care could have meant something different in Shakespearean like context.
Right.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Oh, and it ends with the fireworks show.
Literally Disneyland World of Color.
Right. As I was as I was going through this research, it like I was reading all this like Illuminati, exorcism, ritual shit, and then it was a big reminder and like light switch in my head. Big fireworks show. Like these are all just like men drinking alcohol in the woods on a camping trip.
Yes.
That's literally my dad.
Yeah. Literally.
But like who they are,
it changes it. They have this effortless power.
It's fucking crazy. Okay, so there are a few theories, which is like where we're kind of getting into the whole conspiracy side of it.
Okay.
As to what they actually do there.
Okay.
So, this one it gets pretty dark. So trigger warning here. It's the theory that they practice human sacrifice. They have, like I said before, they have a lot of references to paganism, and often, unfortunately, people attribute paganism to Satanism. Mm-hmm. So they are often called Satanists in the Grove. You can find a lot of that. Like I said before, the quote, they mentioned the exorcism of the demon. So it's shown up, come up a lot in their rituals and their speeches. Okay, in the summer of 1984, Paul Bonocci. He was 16 years old. He describes being driven out to the redwood forest and forced at gunpoint to engage in gruesome sexual activities with two other underage boys. One of them was in a cage.
Whoa.
Men in black capes watched and videotaped, and then later he stated that one of the boys was to be used in their rituals. He didn't know at the time, but he and his lawyer later put together that he could have possibly been in Bohemian Grove. So he didn't know what it was.
Oh, I get you.
He was just a lot of his testimony was from years after the occurrence, and
just connected.
They connected the dots based on the trees and the cabins surrounding, the types of men in the room, the details of the trip, like obviously where he was. His testimony eventually became part of an effort to take down a child prostitution ring with powerful figures involved. So it was kind of used as evidence. There have been key witnesses who've been able to confirm his details of the story. So like workers have been able to say like, oh yeah, that's true about the grounds. But there's not one person who's been able to confirm all of it. So...
Probably because they don't let everybody exposed to all details. So everybody has a truth.
Like bits and pieces.
They can't match up the truth. That makes sense.
And so that's why his story, like it's kind of been chalked up to his story just doesn't add up. So like it's never been officially attributed to Bohemian Grove.
Right.
Okay. And here is where it gets kind of crazy with all the politics and shit that goes down there. There's a theory that the secretive elite, its initiative is of these powerful people, and their goal is to create a totalitarian regime, so a new world order. I'm going to go back to Mary Moore and those programs that she was able to achieve or retrieve from the workers there. I'm going to read off a list of some of the speeches that would go on from the day to day. They would call them where is it? Lakeside Talks. Okay. So they would have a speech every day. One of the speeches in 1997, just a few years before 9/11, CIA director gave a speech called Rogues, Terrorists, and Two Weimars Redux National Security in the Next Century. In that same year, Supreme Court Justice had a speech called Church, State, and the Constitution. In 2004, there was a speech called Did Terrorists Expect the World Trade Towers to Fall? And The Coming Virtual Soldier. In 2005, there was a speech called The Case for Immigration Restriction, Dark Energy in the Runaway Universe. In 2011, there was a speech called The Future of News by Fox News founder. And then little side note, just a few years later, that's when we got the big boom of fake news that dominated politics and kind of like the democratic process.
Right.
Nixon has been quoted saying that his most rewarding and influential speech took place in Bohemian Grove the July before he was elected. George Bush Sr. introduced his son, George H.W. Bush, to the members of the club in 1995 and said, hey, look, my son, he'll probably be a good president one day. So it's like all of these men who have these connections in this club.
Yeah.
It's like we know who the president's going to be.
Sure.
Years out from now.
Right.
But every Republican president since 1932, except President Trump, has appeared at the Grove, mostly before their election.
Oh, bitch. It's literally like, hey, I'm going to do this. Like, back me up. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Let's
So
rage.
they have, like, Nixon literally was quoted saying, like, my most influential speech. Like, you go to the club, you have this speech in front of all of these powerful ass businessmen, and you tell them what you're going to do for them. Of course they're going to finagle things to vote for you.
You only need them to win.
Right.
Oh my God.
100%.
It's interesting that Trump didn't go.
Right.
I feel like maybe they didn't want him to.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Like, I feel like not even like talking on some deep political level. I just feel like he's not fun to party with. Like, I feel like they're just like, oh God, no, don't bring Donald. Like, he's not fun. He gets too messy.
Coffee breath.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just not fun to party with.
Right. Okay. And then the last ish conspiracy theory that I'm going to talk about the Grove is the...
Sorry, I'm just picturing the Grove, like...
The Grove in LA?
In LA. Yeah. Like the little,
no,
like,
100%.
Nordstrom and shit.
100%.
This is what we're talking about, that Grove, guys.
Members are it's said to be that members are responsible for the atomic bomb. And actually, I'm not going to say it's said to be. This is like fact that they're responsible for the atomic bomb. And they potentially hold the keys to the destruction of the planet, which goes in order of New World Order. So one of the guys that snuck in to the Grove, his name's Philip Wise. He's from Spy Magazine. In 1989, he overheard a speech by a commander-in-chief who's in charge of 2 out of 3 of the factions of the military's strategic nuclear forces. He lobbied club members to fund an aerial bomber program, and we now know this program as Manhattan Project. That same year, Weiss overheard this speech. An estimated $23 billion was spent on the program. In September of 1942, a whole weekend was set aside for a series of meetings that took place at the Grove. It included chemists, army officials, and oil industry tycoons. That's where they actually planned the Manhattan Project itself, which is the initiative responsible for the creation of the first nuclear weapons. Just 3 years later, in 1945, that's when the United States dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
This is just a place for them to go have a big meeting where you're not entering on the street. You're not taking a black car there where people are going to paparazzi you on the outside.
Right.
It's undocumented. You can go just talk about whatever you need to talk about. It's literally just like the ultimate safe space.
It's the ultimate conference room.
Exactly. It's in a way like kind of what I pictured Jeffrey Epstein's island to be. Obviously that got documented and it's all aired out now, or not all aired out, but some of it,
This is
still so
fully
protected.
In the dark.
Right.
And they have because they're just a gentleman's club, they don't have to abide by all these crazy political rules.
Yep.
They're just a club.
Yep.
They can do whatever they want.
Exactly. They're just having a group of friends with a common... It's just a community. It's a book club. Like, you can argue that, we're just going to vibe and hang out.
It's fucking crazy.
That's actually crazy.
That's all I have, but
it was incredible.
Thank you. The personal connection that we have to this.
Yes.
We had a friend, I think we've mentioned it a couple times. We worked for a DJ company, and we had a friend who actually DJ'd an event at Bohemian Grove. And do you remember, he said, so there's posts that look like trees and they have cameras that follow you.
Yep.
And he accidentally left his phone in his pocket, and he said he swears to God he never took his phone out of his pocket. He forgot he left it there.
Right.
And someone came up to him at some point and said, "Hey, you got to give me your phone." And he was like, "I honestly forgot. I don't know how they knew I had my phone."
They probably zoomed in, saw the shape of his pocket,
something, or fucking detectors or something 100%. That he doesn't know he walked through. He was like, "I genuinely don't know how they knew I had my phone on me."
They clearly have some different type of security there. It's not just airport security. It's some deeper shit that they're going through
that we probably don't even know about.
Exactly. They're probably picking up his cell phone number, his caller ID, through this what is it called? Satellite thing, right, where they can pick up a service thing. Literally my words right now, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Right.
There's no way, well, clearly there is, that they have gotten away with this since the 1800s. It's so crazy that there's really not much about it.
Right.
You fucking killed it. You have 3 pages of stuff, but I know we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, there's got to be and like I said, these were just, I read off 5 titles of these lakeside talks that clearly, the future of news, church, state, and the Constitution. Oh, I meant to say the case for immigration restriction in 2005.
Yep.
Just a few years after that is when we really cracked down on our borders.
Exactly. The one that like struck me, the coming virtual soldier.
So after that was kind of the person who talked in that speech, that was kind of the he talked about the tech industry within the military, and that ended up being like a $250 billion funded sector of our military.
Of course. Gosh, this is insane. You absolutely killed it. I wonder if we'll ever get to obviously not the bottom, but like just get into it the same way we were able to kind of see the reality behind Jeffrey Epstein. I know this is very different, but something about it kind of reminds me of this. Just this secret high society doing some fucked up shit.
I bet you someone's gonna end up dropping like way more shit than. I mean, all we have is what thankfully Mary Moore has given us.
Is she still alive?
I believe so.
Okay, word.
I also meant to note, my ex-boyfriend, we went to Russian River, which is right around this area, for one of his birthdays. And I was telling him about this and he was like, what? No way. And we drove around like a part of the perimeter of the Grove. And we were like, just like, it's so eerie.
Yeah.
It sends shivers down your spine. You feel it. You know what goes on there.
Yeah, it just feels cold. Even just talking about it feels cold, and the fact that I'm wearing devil horns, just everything feels really cold right now.
And that's the Bohemian Grove. Please. I got most of my research from Parcast Network. They have a conspiracy podcast, and they did 2 episodes on the Bohemian Grove, so go check that out. I got almost all of my information from there, and also our good friends at Wikipedia.
Yes. We will definitely be doing a follow-up episode. We do a follow-up episode every week. I act like that was different. On our Patreon, if we haven't told you guys that before. If you don't know, we do a follow-up episode every week, every Friday after our Monday episodes on Patreon. And for the patrons listening, tell us if you have any other opinions or thoughts on either the conspiracies we read, or if you have any conspiracies you want to tell us that we can read and share with other patrons. Let's have more conspiracy. I mean, I know this is something we could talk about forever. But there were so many more I wanted to do. Honestly, this week for both of us has been really fucking busy. So I do apologize that I didn't go as in. But we'll do this again. Like, I feel like we could definitely do another conspiracy episode. There's so many I wanted to get into. The glitter conspiracy. It's like,
never heard of it.
It's like the mystery behind the biggest glitter buyer in the world. And it's said to be like people are like, oh, like we can't tell you who it is. Like, you don't want to know who it is type shit. That one was really weird. There's the conspiracy.
Who buys all that glitter? Paris Hilton for sure.
Right. Oh my God. But there was one about how like trees went extinct years ago. And they're actually giants. Just tall bushes and shit. I wanted to go into
trees
that.
Are mountains.
Right. There was so many more I wanted to dive into. So we should do another episode.
One. This was fun.
This was so fun. Again, you fucking killed it, Alex.
Thank you.
Please send in your stuff on Patreon. Just message us on Patreon, and then we'll have it for Friday's episode. But yeah, that's kind of all we have for today. I know Halloween's over, but I hope you had a good Halloween weekend. We're just going into it now, so wish us luck. I'm sure we'll have some updates for you on Friday's episode of how our weekend went, because we have 4 days of partying.
4 parties to go to.
So wish us luck. I hope you guys had fun. Have a good rest of your week. Happy November. Holy shit, it's already the holidays. That's disgusting.
Yay.
Okay.
This is Halloween.
Not anymore. This is November 1st. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate us 5 stars. If you're watching or listening on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below any conspiracies you have. Even if you're not a patron, we'd love to talk to you guys in the comments. Yeah. It's one of our favorite things to do. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support either way. And we love you, and happy Halloween. And that's
I love you.
Love you. Okay. Bye.